Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Life in Sport podcast, but also Broncos Faithful, whichever one you're listening or watching this on. We've got former Brisbane Bronco and current St. George Illawarra Dragon, Josh McGuire, on the podcast today. Thank you very much for joining us. And, mate, how's obviously you've not played yet, but how's your preseason been and all that sort of stuff?
Yeah, it's actually been really good, mate. It's my first preseason that I've probably been able to do in the last probably 5 or 6 years, to be honest. Whether it was being away with rep football or injury or whatever, it's been a tough kind of couple of years just getting the body good. So it's the best shape I feel like I've been in probably 5 or 6 years. So I'm just excited to get back and play some football. I've done everything right this year on a performance side of things, especially like just getting my body ready to play some football.
Yeah, so like you're hitting your targets, you're hitting your goals, sort of thing in the training and whatnot.
Yeah, I'm like way ahead of where I have been in the past with
that's awesome.
Just weight, speed, fitness, and that kind of stuff. So I'm just feeling really, just excited about a fresh start and a fresh year of football.
Yeah, wicked. Honestly, I think everyone, not just the players, but even the fans, always love when a new season of football comes around. I'm sorry, when I'm looking down, I'm just looking at the iPad because I've got, your Google and all that sort of stuff, so I can make sure I've got some good talking points. So let's get started. Obviously, 2nd of March, 1990, Josh McGuire is born. Tell us about your junior years, your grassroots, and, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, well, I didn't start playing football until I was 14. I was a late bloomer. I was born in Brisbane. I grew up in Lismore, northern New South Wales, and then moved back to Brisbane when I was like 12, 13.
Oh, lucky for the Queensland selection.
Yeah, so I was always, my dad was in the army, so we moved all the time, from Lismore to Wagga, back to Brisbane and all over the place. So it was pretty normal for us to be up and about. So didn't start playing footy until I was 14.
Okay.
When played at Aspley Devils, which is on the north side of Brizzy.
Yep. David Stagg went to there.
Stagg up Dynamis Louis was on my junior team. We grew up together, me and Nami. Yep. So we
had Nami on the podcast yesterday.
Yeah, I saw that. He's a good man, Nami. He's it's good to see him back in Brizzy. So So I played footy there. I actually signed with the Roosters first when I was 15 or 14. Went down there, trained with those guys for a little bit, but got homesick and then signed back to the Broncos in 2005 when I was 15.
And what was it like? Obviously, you said you got homesick, so you wanted to come back up, and obviously at that time you weren't sure, maybe, I'm guessing, if you were going to get a shot with the Broncos. You signed with the Academy, and, what was like going through the ranks at the Broncos?
Yeah, it was good. I signed on when I was 15. I was pretty fortunate enough that I was always a bigger kid growing up, so I kind of had it. Footy came a bit easier to myself, especially in the junior side of stuff, because always found I was just bigger and more aggressive than all the other kids at that age. So that definitely helped when you're at that age development wise. So got picked up 15s, always made all like the junior rep teams, 15s, Australian schoolboys, all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
And then it wasn't until Anthony Griffin come in, and Anthony Griffin was the coach of the 20s, and I got to come and train with the 20s and that kind of stuff. He brought me in, which was cool. And
was Nami there at the time?
Yeah, Nami came in, myself and a few others.
That would have been good to have some familiar faces there for you.
Yeah, well, it was easy because when you come through the ranks with Queensland, our whole Broncos team was all Queensland players, like Benny Hunt, Andrew McCulloch, all guys I grew up with. So it was easy. But yeah, can't complain at all. It was really good times, like with those guys too, especially because we enjoyed our footy and we, come through together. It made it easy, but we're all kind of rat bags at that age too, which wasn't always a good thing. Like I was always in trouble as a junior. That was just, I was always doing something silly or stupid, which obviously doesn't help you when you're coming through the ranks. So I had to learn the hard way under Anthony Griffin a few times.
Well, I mean, you're now coached by Anthony Griffin in the NRL at the Dragons.
Yeah.
And is some of that similar or same? Does he coach more or less the same at the Dragons in NRL level as he did with you guys at under 20s?
He has the same principles, I guess. When you say he appreciates work ethic and toughness and durability and those things. They're non-negotiables. That I feel you need to have in rugby league. They're super important. But over like his style is in his coaching dynamics of X's and O's and that kind of stuff. And the board definitely have adapted and changed over the years because, it's like all of us, you always grow and you're always learning. So his style has definitely changed, but his principles and a foundation of what a club should be and a team should be definitely the same still.
Yeah, fair enough. And going back to your grassroots for a second, you were actually having been scouted for possible trial with the Vancouver Canucks in ice hockey. What was the decision behind not doing that or pursuing that in favor of rugby league?
Yeah, well, I kind of play in Lismore. Lismore's a really big baseball town, but it's seasonal. Okay. So then with baseball, the other big sport in Lismore, which was funny, was inline hockey.
Yep.
So I went and played inline hockey, and then when you play inline hockey, you kind of transfer over to ice as well, so that it becomes seasonal. And I was just was going around the junior ranks there, and like I was good at ice hockey, again, bigger and stronger than most kids my age, so it kind of translated well into the ice hockey game. I actually got suspended for like 5 months in hockey as a 14-year-old, which is why I went and played rugby league originally. Because
what'd you do to get suspended for 5 months?
I hit someone in the face with my hockey stick. Obviously, I've had anger issues since a young age coming through, so it didn't translate well in junior sport. So, I was an angry kid, and I've had to learn some hard lessons, some hard ways, and I regret a lot of my actions that I do on the sports field, but it is what it is. It is who I am, and I've got to learn from my mistakes. And that was definitely a huge mistake as a junior. But it led me to where I am now.
I was going to say, but at the same time, if you hadn't have done that, we may not have seen Josh McGuire in the NRL.
Yeah. Oh, mate, I'm not to say I was going to ever make it in ice hockey, but it was definitely an opportunity. Rugby league just I'm a family man. I've got 5 brothers. I've got 3 kids now, so I wanted to stay home. Yeah. I didn't want to go overseas. I like being in Brisbane, and that's why I stayed at the Broncos for so long. I love being around my family.
Yeah, no, that's fair. And I watched for lack of a better term, a featurette. I don't know who it was with you and a commentator or someone. I think it may have been Vossi or someone talking about what state of origin meant to you growing up and all that. So if you could just relay, what state of origin meant to you growing up and what it meant to you personally to pull on that maroon jersey for the first time and every time that you've pulled it on.
Yeah, I just think it was, I don't know, like a tradition. It was funny because my dad's a New South Welshman. My mum's a Kiwi, and I was born in Queensland. So I'm just, I think, a guy that's really loyal to where I come from and to what like tradition. So
like, I was born in Brizzy, but I grew up on the Central Coast in New South Wales, but you won't see me wearing a Blues jersey or following anyone that's not the Broncos.
Yeah, so I think I'm a bit the same. Like, once I know who I am or where I come from or what I represent, I was all in, and that's just I guess my personality, whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, I'm just passionate. So then obviously growing up watching Origin, huge Origin fan, like I just wanted to be a part of it. Obviously, as all kids do, you dream and you watch it. And, it was the one night of the year where, you're home from school, you put your jersey on, dad had pizza, dad give you a sip of his beer. You just felt like a man, I guess. You got to watch a man's sport. It was watch the gladiators go around, and
that's it.
You're in high school and you dare to dream.
And you get to go to school the next day if Queensland get the win and put it over your mates who are Blues fans.
Yeah, well, when I was in high school, it was 50-50. It was kind of the
when I was in high school, it was the decade of dominance.
Yeah, so the dominance kind of started when I was like just coming into like NRL, just that older age. But before that, it was, Andrew Johns. I actually went to a game in Sydney where I was with the Roosters, and Andrew Johns did the comeback game, and he's just carved us up and. Mate, like it was so cool, but geez, like I just wanted to be a part of it, and then training for first grade and getting the opportunity to go in, it was I still get goosebumps thinking about it now, man. Like,
that's amazing.
It was a dream come true, definitely, to put it on and to win and play with the guys I've got to play with.
Absolutely, I can imagine. And speaking of loyalty, one I just said where you come from is you're all in. You also represented Samoa. Obviously, you've represented Australia, but what did it feel like to represent your family's heritage of Samoa?
Yeah, well, obviously, you can tell how Samoan I am by looking at me. My grandfather's born in Samoa. He's born up here. My mum's born in Auckland.
Mm-hmm.
So she's very passionate on her side of things. My dad's a redhead from West Sydney, so I've had a bit of a throwback to my dad's side. But I was very fortunate. I got the phone call in 2010. I just started playing. I just started playing first grade in 2009 for the Broncos, and Steve Price, who's now he was coach. He coached Samoa then, great coach. He's back now at Cronulla. I got a phone call from Nigel Vungana asking me, he goes, "Are you Samoan?" And I was like, he thought I was geeing him up. And like, he thought it was all a joke. And I was like, "Yeah, mum is." And then he asked me if I wanted to play. And back then, those eligibility rules were different. So you had to make a choice. So I had to forfeit playing for Queensland for 2 years.
Yep.
Obviously to then go play for Samoa.
Yep.
But I was lucky, or I was realistic enough to realise like I was still a fair little way from playing for Queensland. That playing international football at that level at that age was only going to help my development growing up. Like I was playing against the best players in the world.
Yeah,
on the highest level.
You've got to play against the best.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why I thought for my development as a middle forward, which takes a little bit longer to develop, I went and did that, and I never regretted a minute of it, mate. Like I absolutely love putting on that blue jersey. The only blue jersey I like wearing is a Samoan jersey.
Yep.
I love football. So if I could have the opportunity to play the game of football, whether it's for Samoa, for Broncos or anything, I just love the game of rugby league and giving back to the sport. So I took it with both hands, and I don't regret a single minute of playing for Samoa.
That's amazing. And just touching on the eye and the finger in the eye injury caused by teammate, I think it was Mitchell Dodds, if I'm not mistaken. Talk us through that, because obviously it changed the trajectory of your career in that season, at least. Let us tell us about how that all happened.
So 2011,
I think it was 11.
we're playing the Bulldogs. I tackled Greg Eastwood. It was like the last couple of minutes of the game. Dodgy just come on, and it was an accident. He just got involved in the tackle, and I just got a finger in the eye. And then I didn't really think too much of it. Like, it hurt, and I went all black and stuff. But I thought, this is just a bad eye poke. It wasn't until later that night, my eye started I detached my retina, but my eye had collapsed a bit. So all my eye was bleeding and coming out, and I was like, "Oh, this is not good."
And
then I went to a specialist, and then I had to go get a few operations. And Dr. Albert Aralat, which is in Brisbane at Wickham Terrace, pretty much put my eye back together. But I was told I shouldn't be playing football. I got told that my
was your depth perception sort of thing put off and all that?
Yeah, well, it was all that. I couldn't catch, so like driving and that kind of stuff was all really. I had to start again, but it was also it was another risk if I were to
re-injure it.
If I get hit on that eye, it has to be removed, or if I hurt my good eye, then I was going to be left blind. So, but that was who I am. I just, like I said, I just
do anything for rugby league.
I was 21. I knew nothing else. Like my whole life, I was going to be a football player. Like, I wanted to be since I was 15. I was like, this is what I'm going to do. So I didn't want somebody else telling me what I can and can't do. Which
gotcha.
I know it probably sounds bad, but like I just wasn't taking that for an answer, and so I just went back and I just relearned
how to do things.
Yeah.
And how is the eyesight in that eye at the moment? Like these days?
Yeah, I don't have eyesight in that eye. It's all for show. So it's just dead. Really.
It's all for show and move around.
That's it. It's just there. So but like I've got to now where I am now. I'm 32 now.
You've adjusted to it.
Yeah, I can't remember what it was like to have two eyes, to be honest. So,
Wow.
yeah, it is what it is, man.
Yeah,
Like you
because
just roll with the punches.
when I tell people about it, because obviously, it's a really interesting injury to considering that you play literally half blind. It's had to, as you said, you had to relearn more or less everything. It's such an inspiration, and you managed to come back that season as well.
Yeah.
Like that's
Well,
such.
it was funny.
Yeah.
Anthony Griffin was our coach, and I was at training, and I was struggling like at training to catch and do this sort of stuff. Anyway, it was during Origin time, and then we were meant to play Parramatta.
Yep.
And then Hook goes to me, mate, can you play? And I was like, oh, gee, shit. Like, I don't think I don't know where I'm at. And he goes, if you don't play, I've got to play somebody from Queensland Cup, like another guy that,
yep.
And we're playing Parramatta at the old Parramatta Stadium. So I was like, all right, I'll give it a go. Like I wasn't ready, but I kind of just got chucked in the deep end. And then I said to Andrew McCullough, he was our hooker. I said, mate, if you don't have to, just skip me out. Like don't pass me the ball. I can't catch it.
Yeah.
Or if I'm catching the ball, it's got to be really tight off the ruck, and I've got to learn. Anyway, we made the most of it. I bloody adapted, and then I actually didn't drop a ball, which was lucky. But I was just scared the whole game, scared. And we ended up winning. Matty Gillette scored a sick try from back row. Matty Gillette was one of the GOAT back rowers. I loved Gillette. So
he was.
I loved him. Like just our crew we're all just best mates. So it was.
And what's crazy is it's more or less the same crew as now at the Dragons together.
Yeah, a little bit like that. Well, geez, I'd pay a lot of money to get Matty Gillette back to get Matty Gillette down the Dragons and Gerard. Yeah, they're two of the OGs from the Broncos days. So I wish they were still going around, but it is what it is, man. We're all a bit dinosaurs now up here.
Yeah, damn, it's crazy to think. Like, I mean, there's the old. I think it was last year. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was last year when Hook brought in a few extra former Broncos players, such as yourself and all that. That people started saying it may as well be called the St. George Illawarra Broncos.
Yeah, mate. When you look now, there's like Jaden Sewer, me, Benny Hunt, Andrew McCarlick.
Griffin as well, technically.
Anthony Griffin, Tautau Moga, Frank Molo, Michael Molo. I think that's it at the moment. That's all I can remember.
But that's still quite a fair crop.
Yeah, yeah. I just guess if you know what works, then stick with it, And Hook's showed a lot of faith in us, so we've got to kind of repay that faith this year, especially.
Yeah, no, that's fair. And obviously, we've spoken a bit of time about your time at the Broncos. Let's flick to your other teams that you've played for, such as the Cowboys and the Dragons. But firstly, let's go with the Cowboys. You spent a few years at the Cowboys after your time at the Broncos. Was that, first of all, was there any offers from other clubs? And what was I'm guessing maybe the decision was you wanted to stay in Queensland is why you chose the Cowboys, if you don't mind me assuming that.
Yeah, no. So I was 1 year into a 4-year deal at the Broncos.
Yeah.
At the time, and I was in an Australian tour in New Zealand.
Yep.
And then I had options in my favor. So I had a 4-year deal. I was 1 year into it, but they're all kind of my favor options. So I was able to have a look around. Or people allowed to come to me. And I just played the Aussie tests. We played New Zealand and Tonga.
Yep.
And then an opportunity from the Cowboys, they wanted a middle forward. I think Matty Scott was just I played with Matty Scott, but he was kind of coming to the end of his career and they wanted to bring in another kind of middle guy.
Yep.
Anyway, Wayne was leaving the Broncos the next year, and Seabold was coming in, and I asked the Broncos if they could, because the Cowboys offered me another year on top of what they had already offered me, so it was a 4-year deal. So I was 1 year into a 4-year deal. So then when the Cowboys came, they offered me another 4-year deal.
Okay.
On good money. Better money than what the Broncos were paying at the time, and an extra year of the big money.
Okay.
And then I just asked the Broncos then, can we just talk about another year? Because that would have taken me to to
5 years.
31.
Yeah.
No.
Oh.
Yeah, well, I was the first year down, so it just would have been another year on top of what they were already doing.
Oh, okay.
To me,
Yep.
I didn't want them to match the money of the Cowboys. I just wanted them to
match the length.
Just the years, just to give me that extra year. And they were going through all this backroom office stuff and or whatever changes and stuff, and they just said no, we can't offer you anything yet or then. So it was kind of like, oh, like I love the Broncos. I always wanted to stay, but they couldn't match. They couldn't guarantee me that extra year.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just too much money big money on a big money deal.
To pass up, sort of thing.
Yeah. Well, for me, like I have 3 kids and
exactly. You got to,
do I throw away, it was big money. So do I say no to that and hope that the Broncos are going to have money in that year for me? But, I was realistic. I was,
what's good? What's right for me and my family right now, sort of thing.
Yeah, well, I was 20. I think I was 27 or no 20. I was 29 that year. Yep. I was coming into 29. I was realistic. They had like Payne Haas, Paddy Carrigan, Tommy Flegler, all these really good young middles. Matty Lodge was there. Tavita Pangai. This next gen was coming through. I was realistic of. I don't know if they're going to have this money for me when I come off at 32.
And will I be on the outer if they're coming through, sort of thing?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. So it was a big risk to take. So I just didn't want to take that risk while I have kids and stuff. So, hindsight, I wish sometimes I wish I stayed there and I was a one-club player. Like I loved the club. I loved.
Well, I mean, you're more or less a one-club player because you played 194 games. Like that's more than you played at the other teams.
I wish I hit my 200 there, like I just, since I left there, like I've just kind of, I missed the club. Like I missed being a part of that club. It was a big part of my life at that age to leave home. So, but it is what it is, man. I went to the Cowboys. We had 2 pretty lean years at the Cowboys. But I won Players Player up there last year. Before, the year before I left there, I got the Players Player award, which was, in my opinion, is the ultimate award when your peers vote you the best player. So,
absolutely. And speaking of 200th, you're coming up to your 250th. If you manage to go, well, you got 6 games left to go to your 250th. How do you feel about that coming up, that milestone?
I thought I was 5 games off. I thought I was 245.
Yeah, well, it's probably, I may be wrong. I'm just looking at bloody.
I don't know. I'm just looking at, I was just thinking because I got asked about, I could have hit 250 at the Cowboys if I didn't get suspended. Like I've been, to get to this 250, I could have hit it 2 years ago. So I was only joking about it the other day with Benny Hunt and Macca. We all debuted 09, or Macca debuted 08, played 1 game, but we all played at the same time and they're all at like 270 or 280 or whatever. I'd be playing nearly 300 games if I haven't been suspended 100 times and injured. So it is what it is, man. But
no, that's true.
This is my 14th, I think my 14th NRL season this year.
Fuck. And how many players can say they've played 14 years?
Yeah. I'm very fortunate. I'm very lucky that my, it's taken me to here. But yeah, it was good.
Yeah, nice. So we've covered your time with the Broncos and the Cowboys and Samoa and Queensland. A bit more rep footy talk. The green and gold, Australia.
Yep.
What was like getting the call up for the first time and in general, playing for Australia?
Yeah, man, it was. So I just tore my Achilles. I come into the rep scene. I played Origin 2015.
Yep.
I could have played earlier, but I stuffed up at a emerging camp. I got on the drink and went out and just did stupid shit that you do when you're a young man.
Yeah.
That, I wish I never did, but geez, like it is what it is. So I missed my chance to play Origin like 2 years earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And then they brought in like Chris McQueen and Josh Papali and stuff. So I had to wait another window to get into the team. So I was really pissed off with myself watching them play earlier. But then when I got my opportunity in 2015, I played the first 2 games for Queensland. And then I tore my Achilles in the 2015 season. So I missed the last game of that series and the grand final, which just broke me. So that whole preseason, I was just training as hard as I can. I wanted to come back and play good footy, not thinking about Australia or Queensland, just wanting to come back and play for the Broncos After that, made the grand final. And then started the year really good, really fit. I had like Corey Parker and Friday and those guys, Matty Gillette, all around me that are like, keep a high standard when you're a young guy. And then, played the first start of the season. Broncos were killing it. I think we were equal first. And then the Anzac test came around and Mount Meninga became the coach. And he called me and said, I'm playing for Australia in the Anzac test in Newcastle. And I was like, holy shit. Like, I didn't even know I got picked in the team.
Yeah, let alone I'm playing.
I'm coming off of the Achilles tear, let alone like thinking, geez, like how I just wanted to play for the Broncos. Like, and then I got picked for Australia. So then I was like, shit myself. But played the Anzac test. Played that Anzac test that year for 16. And I was like, just gave me that confidence then to go, yeah, this is where I want to be. This is what I want to do.
More of this. Yeah.
Yeah. So then, World Cup 2017 for Australia. We win the World Cup, played lock. It was amazing.
What was that feeling? Winning the World Cup.
Oh man, like you watch it as a kid. You watch World Cups, and I got to have the trophy. And to be like, I played like majority of the cup final as well. Like, so I felt like I really contributed to the team and to the game and to the win. It was a hard game, man. We're playing England, and I think it was like 6-0. It was just at Suncorp Stadium in front of my mum and dad, my brothers, my wife, my kids. It was just a dream, man. Like, I still pinch myself. Like, I've got Origin Series, I've got a World Cup, I've got like 4 Nation tours, whatever it is. Like, I've got all these things that I just still think, shit, man. Like how the hell did I do that?
Yeah.
I was just a little fat kid from Ashley playing footy, and now I'm doing this. I don't know how this happened, but it happened, and it is what it is.
That's amazing. I got some quick fire questions for you to round out the chinwag. Just not necessarily footy related, but just some fun ones. How do you like your steak cooked?
Medium rare. I'm a medium rare, man.
Very nice. And you mentioned the drink. What's your drink of choice?
I'm a whiskey man. I love whiskey. So,
Any specific whiskey or just any whiskey?
I don't mind. There's a one up here called 100 Souls up here, which is cool. I really like that up here. I like Jack Daniels. I'm a Jack man. If I'm in the pre-mixing stuff, I'm like the Jack, but I appreciate it all. Maker's Mark.
Yeah, love me a Maker's Mark.
Yeah, so I'm actually starting a whiskey that's going to be coming out soon. So
wow.
It's all kind of hush hush at the moment, but
absolutely.
You're the first to know about it, man.
Oh,
I'll send you some when it comes out.
Oh, wicked! And would you like me to edit that bit out of the episode, or do you want me to keep that in?
No, you can say it, man. But I'm not going to tell you the name of it.
No. I just wanted to clarify if you wanted me to edit that bit out.
No, you're right, man. Yeah, I've got something coming, so it's cool. It's going to be really
awesome.
Cool.
Is it a good drop?
It's definitely a good drop. So it's going to be in the premix as well. So
awesome. As in premixed with cola sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Very nice. Very nice. Okay, so we've covered your steak. We've covered your drink. What's a brain funding up? Do you have any pre-game rituals or routines? And if not, who at the Broncos during your time there had the weirdest pre-game ritual?
I think I was the weirdest, to be honest.
Yeah?
Lockie Miranda was weird.
Yep. I've interviewed Lockie. He definitely said he had a weird one.
Yeah, he had some weird stuff. I used to always go to the movies on game day.
Oh, okay.
So I always went to the cinemas game day. Like 9 times out of 10, I'd go, and I'd just go by myself if nobody wanted to come with me. But I was always at the cinemas game day, go watch a movie, come home, chill out. I always wore kind of the same socks and always the same boots. I only like wearing white football boots as well when I play. I can't wear.
Is that a superstition or just?
Yeah.
Okay.
Superstition. And
they match the jersey now.
I know, but I've always wore white boots, and then I kind of just get a super just my routine is really specific of like boots and what I do when I stretch and shower and all this kind of stuff. That's wigs people out, but it's all right. But Lockie Miranda was weird. You always had to tip over a cup of water on the floor, and you'd stare at a wall and like talk to himself, which like everyone does their own shit, man. It's rubbing the leg out.
Some of the ones I've heard, fucking Mick Crocker, he had to have a spew every time the 2-minute bell went off. He'd have it to the point where he said at some point it just became reflex. He didn't even mean to anymore. And,
Matthew Langer was the same. He spewed as well.
Yep. And another one I remember was Chris Sandow. He wore the same undies from captain's run until the end of the game on game day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, like, it's weird.
So interesting,
we're just creatures of habit, man. And like, once we figure out something that works for us, like, we just don't want to stray away from it. So it is like, we're all like, we're not there in the head football players. So it's just the way it is, I guess.
Well, I mean, hey, exactly. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
That's it, man.
Netflix binge during the lockdown in 2020. And there was somewhat of a lockdown last year, the hub. What was your Netflix binge?
I love Vikings.
Yes.
I'm all about, I love the Vikings, Peaky Blinders.
Love Peaky Blinders.
On the stand, I'd watch like Billions, Yellowstone, that kind of stuff now. I'm just starting to get into the new Halo series on Paramount.
I haven't watched it yet. Isn't it any good?
Yeah, it's gangster. I love it. It's very cool. I'm a nerd, man. Like,
you're
I
a gamer?
Video games. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not anymore. I've got 3 kids, so I can't play. But I appreciate the old school games.
Okay. Favorite old school games.
Yeah, Halo, Mario, like Crash Bandicoot. Man, I'm like an OG on that sort of stuff. Street Fighters, like all that kind of stuff. So
that's awesome. And obviously, stupid question because I pretty much already know the answer. But what team did you follow growing up?
Yeah, I was a Broncos supporter, but I also like the Dragons, which was funny. Sean Timmins, who's our assistant coach now, he was one of my favorite players growing up. So I loved Sean Timmins, I loved Adrian Morley, and I loved Michael Crocker. They were like my 3
I've managed to interview 2 of them. I've not managed to get Timmins yet, but Michael Crocker and Adrian Morley were amazing interviews, especially Morley, as I'm sure you know, like he was a fucking maniac when he was over in Australia. Man. But when he went back over to England, he put his head on and he didn't get suspended ever after he became captain of Warrington. Yeah,
he was one of my favorites because he was at the Roosters when I first signed the Roosters. So he was such a gentleman, like just
lovely
a nice fella. Yeah, man.
Like chalk and cheese from on field and off field.
Definitely. But most football players are like,
like even you, for lack of a better term, some people would see a white line fever, would hit anyone on the field, but off the field, mate. Look at the chat. You're nothing but chill.
I know, man. Some people just don't like me, but I understand it's a game of footy, and you get to make an opinion of someone from 80 minutes of football.
But at the same time, that's why I love podcasting and interviewing players and stuff, because so many times I've had friends and whatnot. I've told them, I've got this player coming on the podcast or this, that, the other, and go, oh, he's a prick, or this, that, not about you, but I'm like,
geez, I've heard it plenty of times. Most of the time I meet people and they're like, oh, you're not such a dickhead anyway. So I'm like, oh man, I'm a dick on the field, but it's just the way I play footy.
But you got to have a bit of mongrel in you,
It's just, I just always say, like, it got me to where I am, so I don't like to change it. But
exactly.
I do got to change a little bit. I've got to change a little bit at the moment because I keep getting suspended and the game's changed and I'm a dinosaur and I've got to change with the rules, brother.
That's fair. And last bit to wrap up, we'll cover your time with the Dragons so far because it's the most recent club you're at. Yeah. You went to the Dragons as of last year. What was it like going? It was more or less mid-season from the Cowboys to the Dragons, and now next you're up to your second season-ish with the Dragons. How's everything going from where it started at the Dragons to now?
Yeah. So, Todd Payton come into the Cowboys, and it's kind of a similar thing. Like, there wasn't going to be any. I would talk to the club about because me and my wife loved it in Townsville, and we were coming into our last year. This year would have been my last year with the Cowboys. Yep. And I was just said to them, like, is there going to be an opportunity for me to stay after this year? Like with the club, like we love it here, me and my wife, and Todd was just like, nah, I don't think so. Like we're just like they had some young guys, and I don't know, everyone just for whatever reason, just when the young guys come through, they just think, all right,
try and push the old guys out, sort of thing.
Yeah, man, it's all cool. Like it is what it is. Like I just knew where I stood then. So then Hook, my old coach, like there's nothing here for me long term for me and my wife and my kids. So it is what it is. So Hook rang me, and I've worked with Hook. I love Hook. He's like one of my favorite coaches. And he just said, man, come down. Like, I'd love to have you. I come down. And the Dragons were great. All familiar faces. I love the club. But I just come off that preseason coming into last year. I tore my hamstring off the bone. So my first week of running, like proper running, was my first game. So I hadn't really had any base of a fitness.
You couldn't
so
test it out until the game.
Yeah, then I got into the drag. Like I played a couple of games for Cows, and I was just starting to feel all right. Like I wanted to, like obviously at the start, I was like I wanted to stay there, but then Hook brought me down, and then I just started playing some footy at the Dragons, and then I got that Magic Round weekend happened, and everyone got suspended for like 5 games.
Fuck, wasn't that insane?
Yeah,
that bloody
it was
crackdown.
Fuck. Yeah, man, I got down for a hip drop. And like Josh Adokar carried on, and then he got up to score 3 tries. So like it wasn't even a bad thing, but they were just, man, like nitpicking everything.
They really were.
I did a 5-week suspension, come back, and I hadn't really even got a fitness before that. So I just didn't feel like I found my feet last year in the Dragons. I was just in and out, and that's why I was just very disappointed in myself with the way it all went. With footy and that kind of stuff. So this year, like I've been off the drink since November, just doing everything right to give myself every opportunity to play good footy that the Dragons and Hook and that deserve from myself, because I haven't been at my best the last, the year in 2019 was it? What are we
before
now?
COVID?
2020 I got like Cowboys player. So I had a really good year, but then I couldn't really string any the next year. Then I went to the Dragons, and then, I was a bit upset because I was player. Then next minute I'm like, oh yeah, there's not going to be anything for you. So I was like, oh, all right, sweet. Yeah. It is what it is. But so, I just want to get back to playing good footy and being fit. So, I finished last season like 112 kilos. Just wasn't myself. I'm back down to 102 now. I'm feeling really healthy.
That's your ideal playing weight for you, is it?
Yeah, 102, 103, man. Just you got to be fit, and you got to be fast, and you got to be strong. And last couple of years, I've just been taking the piss a little bit. I think just kind of just cruising along. So I just wanted to give myself every opportunity to play my best footy. And I love being here at the Dragons. Really enjoy my time. And what the future holds for me, I'll let my footy do the talking, and
absolutely
just see what comes from that, man.
Yeah, for sure. And one last question is, what advice would you give to any youngsters that are, wanting to play rugby league in the NRL one day?
I always say to kids, find out what you're good at and be the best at that. Yeah. Figure out what separates you from the kid next to you and be the best at that. So if you're the fittest kid, be the fittest kid in the team. If you're the strongest, be the strongest. If you're the fastest or most aggressive, just be the best at that, because that's what's got you. That's what separated you already. So keep doing that. So that's when I come into the NRL in 2009, I was like big and aggressive, but I wasn't big enough. I wasn't going to be big enough in the NRL to be like that. So then I had to like look at myself. I was like, well, what else am I good at? And I'm like, I'm really fit. Like I can run all day. I can be fit. I can make 40, 50 tackles. I can do 20 runs. So I'm going to be the best at that. So that's when I just come back, and I was just like, just did cardio, man. Just cardio and be aggressive. And that was like, I just built my game off that. And that's all I can say to the kids is figure out what you're good at and be the best at that, because that's going to separate you from what's the guy standing next to you. And that's what all you got to do is just make a point of difference, and someone going to notice you.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll just quickly